I'm live. All right. Welcome, everyone, to another Mountain Man Monday, episode 8 for October 21st, 2019. Starting later tonight than I would have liked to, but you know how it goes. Life happens, things happen. Did the best I can. If we get just a couple folks on tonight, that'll be great. Maybe some people will be able to watch it tomorrow. So we'll give it a little while and see who rolls in here tonight. Late, obviously, but maybe we pick up some folks on Central Time Zone, West Coast, or happen to be just still up and not going to bed quite yet. I know folks prefer the 7 o'clock time slot as well as I do, but it just lots of stuff happens. Hey, Marvin, how you doing tonight? Welcome to the live stream. I know it's later than typical, but thanks again for joining. Hopefully my audio is okay and my video is the same it is every week. It seems like it starts off choppy and like 30 minutes into it, it gets better. So, we'll see how it goes as long as you can hear me well. And I've got the good mic set up again. Hey, Crystal Copenhagen, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream tonight. I actually noticed both you all, I think, had seen my new Gatlinburg video and had left comments on it. So that was cool. And thanks for watching. And I'm sure we'll talk about Gatlinburg tonight and the fall and the leaves and anything else y'all want to talk about. But yeah, I'm just glad I did it. At first, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do it, but I kind of figure better late than never, to have the live stream. A few people, I had to do this a few weekends ago. And some folks told me they fell asleep waiting for the live stream to start. So do the best I can. I'm doing well, Crystal. I appreciate it. I'm glad to hear you're doing well also. Yep. We just had a good weekend, had some extended family in town. So we did a jaunt over to Gatlinburg. And Saturday was rainy, as you had seen in the video. Sunday was beautiful. And just got some stuff done around the house, spent some time with family, and getting the week going like we always do here on Monday. Start off the week with a little bit of fun. Hey, Rita, glad to have you here. And good. I'm glad the live stream's much better. It's kind of funny. I start going around the house pleading to turn off devices and limit the bandwidth because it's the upload speeds that are problematic for the live streams, that if you don't have excellent upload streams. So I try to minimize how much is going on at the time, and hopefully it's decent. Like I said, I'm using a pretty good mic, so at least the audio is good. And the video, I switched back to the better webcam this week, which is the Logitech Brio, instead of using the one on the Surface. So anyway, hopefully the quality is halfway decent. And contrary to the t-shirt that I'm wearing, it is actually chilly. I just had happened to go and work out tonight, and I just had this on. But ordinarily, we are not in cutoff t-shirt weather at this point. It is it's been cooler, thankfully, fall weather. Highs here in Western North Carolina around 60. Lows in the 40s, 50s, mostly 50s. But I'll tell you, tomorrow night, I think it's going to be like a low of 38 or something like that. I mean, no snow or anything, but we're getting into the fall. And for those of you that find the fall interesting or fun, the leaves are really starting to, it just depends. I'm not a tree expert, but it seems like some trees turn at different times. I mean, obviously, some are like red and yellow. Some, almost all the leaves have fallen off. And then there's other ones that are still green. Not really dark green, but, they're still green. So you kind of get all the stages. If I recall from last year, this lasted weeks. But there are some trees that are at their peak. And then in a day or two, they're going to fall off. So pretty in the mountain, pretty squared, it is pretty. It's pretty, it's beautiful. It's a good time. How about where you all are? Do you guys have good fall weather? Nobody has to mention where they're from or whatever. Respect everybody's privacy. I just mean generically speaking. Do y'all have cooler weather? I know once in a while we get some folks from out in California that it's hot. So but yeah, definitely getting into the thick of October. It's cloudy and rainy with wind out here today. Yeah, I mean, I know there was, what was it, on Saturday, some of that weather we saw in Gatlinburg was the remnant of a previous tropical storm, I believe. Forget the name of it, but that was, I think that's what brought the rain. And but which actually was much needed because like you probably heard, it was we've been kind of, I don't know if it's an official, it's not maybe necessarily a drought, but we had like 6 weeks where it barely rained, so rain's good. So Crystal says, I like the cooler weather here in Ohio. It's around 60 degrees and rainy all day. Yeah, that's great, Crystal. I grew up in central Ohio, big Buckeyes fan, and still have family up there. And it's funny because when you're younger, you don't care about leaves and stuff like that. You just, the only thing I ever cared about growing up was if we had a snow day. So I pay attention to snow. And then you get older and you start to appreciate the leaves turning in fall, especially with my past, having lived in Central Florida for over 10 years, where there was hot and less hot and no leaf turning. Get a break from mowing the grass for about 6 weeks in January and February. So yeah, Ohio has, the Midwest has some pretty good weather. In fact, one of my buddies who lives in Minneapolis, or the Minneapolis area, sent me a picture of some trees that it looked like something out of like a professional photographer. All the trees were yellow, like bright, bright yellow. It was incredible. So that's pretty neat. I live in Hermitage, Tennessee, if I pronounce that right. If not, let me know. It is a community in Nashville, and we are getting pretty much the same weather you are getting so far. Yeah, Nashville. I haven't been. I think I've been to Nashville when I was a kid. I mean, not for vacation. It may have been for a funeral or something. Rita, does I could just look this up on a map, but when I'm in these live streams, I don't look them up. Is there any place out there named Old Hickory? Is that near Nashville? That's where I had my family from there a long time ago. Yeah, Old Hickory. Somebody was mentioning Andrew Jackson House, and my grandmother used to tell me stories that they lived in Old Hickory and used to be able to go into his house. It wasn't like, all protected National Archives. She said she remembered playing in that house and just messing around, not like vandalizing or anything crazy, just that it was, you could just play around. She was telling me that recently. And now, obviously it's probably a historical monument or, yeah. Okay. So you were telling me. Yeah. So, Old Hickory is up that way. Nashville is supposed to be a great city. I might, probably get there sometime, maybe next year. I don't know for, might check it out or something like that. But Tennessee's a beautiful state, long state too. I mean, if you think about it, the big cities, you got, what do you got? You've got Knoxville, then you got Nashville, and down south you got Chattanooga, and over on the west side you got Memphis, and might be missing a few, but lots of places to go in Tennessee. Although East Tennessee is amazing. I mean, we talk so much about Gatlinburg and stuff, but the east side has Bristol, like Bristol, Tennessee. If you're into NASCAR, like they have the NASCAR track, they have the NHRA drag strip called Thunder Alley, I believe. And so, yeah, that's pretty cool too. MMM mom, that's my mom. That's Mr. Mountain Man's mom. So that's my mom. Hi, Mom. How you doing? Welcome to the live stream. My mom was asking me if I was going to do it. I almost didn't do the live stream tonight, but I figured, like I was telling people, better late than never. Leaves are so up here. Mom used to slide down the banister in the Hermitage. Okay, so Rita probably knows that because that's what she was talking about. She said in Hermitage, Tennessee. So, yeah, some history there in with my grandmother and Old Hickory and outside of Nashville. And had that's my grandmother grew up there. So pretty cool. Yeah, lots to do in Tennessee and Western North Carolina. You know, I mentioned in the live streams before, there's so much focus on Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge because of its tourist ability. But I already told you guys how much there is to do over here in Western North Carolina. I wouldn't even have to leave the this part of the state, and you could just have a never-ending list of hikes and mountains and parks and places to go. I'll tell you what would be really fun. I don't know how you'd vlog it, but I'll tell you what would be fun is doing some like winter type sports and trying to share that with you all. I've only gone skiing once in my life, and it's crazy because I went, it was in Ohio, and I absolutely loved it. It's weird to have done something in my life that I liked so much and never have done it again. The only deterrent to it for me was that it's expensive. Like to go skiing, if you don't have all the equipment yourself, and to rent it, and if you're not just by yourself, you're with, you know, your spouse or family or a friend or whatever, it can get kind of expensive for all the rental stuff. I think that's the only reason I haven't really done it before. I mean, again, like over the years, but I'd love to give it a try again. It'd be fun to get like a GoPro or something and show, you know, the slopes or so. I'm not a skier, obviously, but maybe some snow tubing or something like that. Ober Gatlinburg has snow tubing, and tickets, as I understand, are really hard to get. I think one year we looked, and if you don't get them, I think they're going on sale like now, like October, mid-October, they go on sale. And if you don't get them early, they'll they sell out. So yeah, but make sure this mic is good. Tell me if y'all can let me know if there's any problems here in the audio. Let's see. I visit Tennessee once a year, Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, but I need to go to Adamsville, Tennessee again. Oh, the Buford Puser Museum is cool. I haven't been there since early 90s when I was about 12. I'm not familiar with that museum or Adamsville, Tennessee. Where in relation is that? Like, is that Middle Tennessee or again, I could obviously Google all this stuff if I wasn't on the live stream, but yeah, that's oh, you know what? Let me see if I can do that real quick. Let's just look it up. Adamsville, Tennessee, and there's an Adamsville, Texas. McNairy counties. Okay. All right. Well, I got to zoom out on the map here. And let's see. So that is once I zoom out here, hopefully I don't. Oh, okay. That's between, if somebody's already probably said it in the chat, I'm on a different screen. That is south of I-40. Not quite, but almost halfway between Memphis and Nashville. So that's kind of in the middle of the state. That's pretty cool. Oh, and I see the museum here. It's got a picture of it. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else has been there. And that's pretty neat. Yeah, there's so much to do. Hermitage is the home of President Jackson, and Old Hickory was named after him because they said he sat up like a hickory tree on his horse. Ah, that's good. Yeah. I'd like to check that out someday. That's pretty cool, especially since I've heard about it so much from my grandmother, and so that was pretty cool. So I wanted to share one cool thing with you guys. This was pretty neat. I was surprised about this. So raise your hands if you've watched the original Benjamin Calabash seafood buffet review that I did, and I'm joking about raise your hands, but. If you haven't seen it, I went to Myrtle Beach over the summer, and one of the videos on my channel was I went to a big seafood buffet called Original Benjamin's Calabash Seafood Buffet. Yeah, so Rita saw it, and maybe a few others saw it. Anyway, when you guys send comments, I'm usually on top of them within a day because I'm a smaller channel, and I really appreciate the feedback, and I love to see that you guys have seen it, so I follow up on it. I don't know what happened. A handful of comments slipped through me being notified about, and one kind of important one, which was that the marketing and kind of like the owners and marketing of the restaurant put a comment on that video and said, "Oh my gosh, we love your video. That was fantastic. We'd like to share the video, reach out to us," or something like that. And it was like a month later. I couldn't believe it went that long. So I found their webpage that they had put the link, and I went out to it and I said, "Hi, this is Mr. Mountain, and I just now saw your YouTube comment. I apologize, it slipped by. Please share it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We had such a great time. The food was delicious. It was a really nice way to celebrate my birthday." And they responded back to me like, "Oh gosh, we almost gave up on trying to contact you. We loved your video, and we wanted to send you a few t-shirts as a way to say thank you." So I got this in the mail today, this box from the post office. I really didn't want them to do anything. I just did that because I enjoyed it. But check out some of these shirts that they sent. They sent this original Benjamin's Calabash Seafood Buffet. They sent a whole variety. This one's mine. This is a nice blue one. It says right there, "The original Benjamin's Calabash Seafood Buffet, Myrtle Beach." I mean, they sent this is a nice green one. This one's a little bit bigger. And it's kind of hard to tell. It looks like on the camera, it looks like this one's green. And then they sent this one. This one's an orange. Orange. They sent me all kinds of stuff. Check out this hat. Calabash, they sent a hat. It says, "A family tradition for over 30 years." They sent a cooler, like you can put, keep cold. This is like one of those cool polar packs. And a tote bag. I was flattered. I can't believe they sent me all this stuff. They also sent a nice card. Let me read you the card. Dear Mr. Mountain, thank you for being an original Benjamin super fan. We are just honored that you chose to bring your family to eat with us. We also thank you for your amazing video and review. We hope you enjoy these small gifts, and hopefully they fit. We put some extras. Hope to see you again next time you're in the area. Thanks again. These guys were awesome. Let me tell you something. I'm too small of a channel. I've never been solicited by anybody to like go to their restaurant and do a review. We just picked that place by looking at local area places that wanted to go. But I can tell you honestly, and not because they sent me the shirts, that's a great seafood buffet to go to. If you haven't seen the video, watch it. But if you have, one of the things you remember me saying, it's worth every penny for how much it costs. But if you go there with a family, it's not like going to like McDonald's or Denny's or something. I mean, it costs a little bit, but it's worth the money because you're getting crab legs, you're getting fresh seafood. I mean, the buffet is super extensive, and so it's worth it. And just the customer service alone was top notch. The waitress that we had the first night had so much pride in her job, and said that the community there of like waiters and waitresses had worked there for years. And so it was like a family, and a family owned it, and a family owns it. So I got the history, and I tried to put some of that in the video. And I think what also was kind of special about that video, recalling from it now, was let me try to get that camera in focus. Let me see there. It seems like it got a little fuzzy. Anyway, you can see me good well enough. The other thing was the next day, again, recalling from the video, we went next door to the other buffet. And, You might not think about doing that, but if you're in an area, just ask somebody in the parking lot if you don't feel strange. And we were like, oh, excuse us, we wanted to try this buffet. Is good. And they're like, don't go here. Don't go here. And we're like, wow, thanks for the heads up. And I said, well, what was the problem? And they're like, the food was just not fresh and all this. We went back next door and went to their to Original Benjamin's again 2 days in a row. And so that was really cool. So my mom asked, do you recall going to Calabash as a kid? Now, the thing, so I don't recall exactly. The word Calabash is a style, obviously. A lot of people know that, of buffet with the fried seafood that they put out and all that stuff. There are about 20 to 30 buffets in Myrtle Beach that all have the name Calabash in it. In fact, every single one will say, Bennett's Calabash Buffet, Bennett's 2 Calabash Buffet, Original Benjamin's Calabash Buffet, somebody else's Calabash Buffet. So they all are called Calabash Buffet. I do not recall going to this particular buffet when I was a kid, but we may have gone to Calabash Buffet. And one place we did go, and I know from watching the Yankee in the South was in Myrtle Beach just this past weekend. A lot of people in their live stream were recommending the Sea Captain, and I definitely had been to the Sea Captain a bunch. But that's not a buffet. That's like a sit-down restaurant on the beach. It's a really good one. So Crystal said, wow, those shirts are cool. Marvin said that's cool. That's awesome. Roxy Foxy and Dr. Pepper Show, welcome to the live stream. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. Crystal says, next time I go to Myrtle Beach, I need to go there. Food did look good. It was good, Crystal. Go with an appetite. I'm glad they didn't get mad at me in the video that at the beginning I gave tips on how to take advantage of the buffet. They probably thought that was hilarious. I said, don't eat the bread. Go get those crab legs. Fill up on the good food that you like. Apparently they must have thought that was pretty cool. Let's see. Next time I go to Myrtle Beach, yep, food did look good. Roxy Foxy and Dr. Pepper Show. I'm guessing that RF and DP need to make a road trip. Yes, Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach is, I'm going to jump down a minute. We got somebody new here. Natari Walton, welcome to the live stream. Good to have you here. Hope you're having a great day and a good Monday. Thanks for joining us. And so Roxy Foxy and Dr. Pepper Show, going to Myrtle Beach. I've been there a few times a year. The one time I don't recall ever being there is around Christmas. But summer goes without saying. It's hot. You can get in the ocean and have a great time. I mean, case closed. Hotels are a little more expensive in the summer, but that's the prime time to go, from May to September. And actually those bookends, May to September, I think they still have it. They used to have Bike Week and Senior Week and stuff like that, so you got to watch out for that. But then it's just like families in the summer. September can be a good one. The kids get back into school. And then, let's see. Then October, the nice thing about now is that the crowds have really thinned out in Myrtle Beach. And it's probably the same with, I've been there in the spring. I went there on spring break once. You cannot go in the water. You can walk on the beach. I mean, you can go in the water, but it's got to have like a bodysuit. It's going to be really cold. And so, but yes, like I remember my wife and I went on the motorcycle when we lived in Charlotte. This was years ago. From Charlotte, North Carolina to Myrtle Beach. We ate at one of the seafood buffets. We rode around town. It was not that buffet. It was a different one. And then came back the same day. So you can make a road trip, depending on where you live, in a day. And hotels get a lot more reasonable in the off season. Like, you can probably get an oceanfront for, if you're not in a big name brand, I mean, and it's more motel style, maybe even less than $100. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a travel agent. In the summer, they get a lot more expensive. If you're just wanting to go to have a bunk or a place to put your head and you're off, a few miles inland, you could probably score a sweet deal and check out Myrtle Beach. So that's really pretty cool. Rita said that's really nice of them. That was a really big place and heaven for a seafood lover. It was. And one of the other cool things about the original Calabash Seafood Buffet was that not only the food selection, but the decor. Remember me going around, like they have a ship builder inside the restaurant that builds those models, like the Queen Mary when you walk in and all that. So it was like, it was really amazing. Like it wasn't just like a place, just like just go eat. I mean, it was really kind of an experience too. So that was neat. Yeah, it's really nice of them. And Mom says, went to Calabash, some distance from Myrtle. Your grandma went to Sea Captain last week. She went to Sea Captain last week. I didn't know she went to like last week, or like, that's pretty cool if she went there. What is your must for Myrtle Beach? That's a great question. Love a good question. That's like question of the night. Well, okay. Is it the summer? Okay, let me answer that in a couple ways. If it's the summer, you got to go to the beach. The sand is soft. You can pick up the seashells, and the water is nice. The beach. Myrtle Beach is the beach. But that's probably too easy, right? You probably weren't looking for, say, go to the beach. Maybe that's obvious. If it was going to be food, I got to recommend, you know what I'm reaching for. I'm serious. I mean, I made that video without ever knowing these guys were going to send me this stuff. Yeah, I would go. Going to a big seafood buffet like that is an experience. I really recommend it. The only thing I wouldn't recommend it for is some people don't like buffets, and I totally get that. If you are looking for a nicer sit-down restaurant, the other one I mentioned, probably the Sea Captain, and a lot of people mention that, and there's a lot of history to that house and that location. So as far as food, Original Benjamin's Calabash Seafood Buffet in North Myrtle Beach. Actually, I know their address. It's 9593 North Kings Highway, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, 29572. And then Sea Captain's on the ocean. And then if it was going to be like entertainment, I'll give you a chain restaurant, Roxy Foxy and the Dr. Pepper Show. One of my favorite chain restaurants there is the Hard Rock because it's a pyramid. And it's the coolest Hard Rock I've ever been to. And I've probably been to a dozen Hard Rock cafes. It's at Broadway at the beach. Going to the Hard Rock, and then if you want to splurge for entertainment, Ripley's Aquarium is there. So everybody knows Ripley's at Gatlinburg. There's a really tremendous Ripley's at Broadway at the beach. Those are both pretty cool too. And you got to stop at the Gay Dolphin downtown because you have to say you did, and you got to buy some kind of cheap souvenir for like $5. I'm telling you, if you go to a seafood buffet, it's funny because the videos I did were kind of quintessential Myrtle Beach. Like I grew up going there. That was the beach I went to from Ohio. So when I selected those videos, it wasn't with blind experience. It was kind of based on like going to a buffet, going to the beach, hitting some mini golf, and going to the Gay Dolphin and doing some shopping. Those are really pretty cool things to do in Myrtle Beach. So I would say those are the kind of the must-dos. You can mix it up within there. Go to a different pop-up place. Try a different seafood buffet. Do a little different entertainment. Broadway at the beach, and then the one up north, the Boardwalk. Not the one downtown, but there's another one up north. But anyway, I want to jump down. Smoky Mountain Hiker, welcome. Good to have you here. I was just showing everybody, Smoky Mountain Hiker, that that buffet from Myrtle Beach sent me a bunch of T-shirts and a hat and everything. It was super awesome. I was flattered. I couldn't believe they did that. They liked my video. That was pretty neat. So yeah. And yeah, Natari Walton, I'm glad you're doing well and getting the week started out. We always do these live streams on Monday because Monday traditionally is kind of stinky to get the week going. And it's kind of fun on Monday to get together as a community and just talk about whatever's fun to talk about. 5 hours away from Myrtle. So Roxy Foxy, yeah. So if you're 5 hours from Myrtle, you probably want to stay a night. Otherwise, that's going to be a little bit of a marathon going there and back. Natari says in September, we got a 1-bedroom at a resort for $117. Yes, that is a great time. Like September is like, if you can somehow go on the weekends, or if you have kids and you can't take them out of school because school just started, or if you don't have kids and you just want to wait, the water will still be warm in September. So post Labor Day, the rates are going to go down quite a bit. But if you try to get a hotel room in like July or August at one of the major resorts, I mean, you're looking upwards of $200, $300, $400 a night or more, depending on how big you get and all this stuff, and you can rent and all that stuff. So, Smoky Mountain Hiker says, hope you are getting the leaves on your side. I bet they're really good over there now in North Carolina. Yeah, I was talking about it. Depending on the type of tree, and I'm no expert, there are some trees that are Smoky Mountain Hiker. I put a video. I went to Gatlinburg this week, and I think I had chatted with you on one of the live streams. I was over your way on Saturday with the family for a quick trip, and I had filmed a few trees, and they were just popping like real bright red, and it was really cool. We have one in our yard here that's like orange and red. Some are still green, but you're right, Smoky Mountain Hiker. Like depending on the elevation, there are some trees that are at peak right now. In a couple of days, all the leaves will fall off, and so yeah, we have some beautiful colors, and I'm telling you, from now in the next 3 weeks, it's going to be great for hiking and driving and just being outside and checking it out. It's a great time. Indiana Kid, welcome to the channel. Good to have you here. And you said, hey, Dan, did I miss a Dan? Like Dan the Mountain Man or somebody else? If I missed a Dan, let me know. And my mom says baby flounder fusco. That was a baby flounder fusco was me making fun of my sister growing up. We went out to a seafood place in Myrtle Beach at the hotel we were at, and she ordered it with a high-pitched voice like baby flounder fusco. And I've never let it go for like 30 years. The joke that keeps on going. I actually wish my sister would join this once in a while. I think she's a subscriber. I grew up going to Kentucky Lake, not the same as the beach. So when I grew up in Ohio, I mean, unless you went up to Lake Erie or something like that, Buckeye Lake, so I get it in the Midwest, or just different areas but it doesn't matter, lake or beach or whatever. Actually, lakes can be really cool places, and you can have houses or cottages that line it, depending on how big or small the lake is. Lakes can be just tremendous resorts. Is everyone giving you thumbs up? I only see three. Oh, thank you for anybody who did a thumbs up. I appreciate that. That means you are having a good time. That's really cool. Thank you for doing that. I know what happens with that is that when you're on mobile and the live stream, it's an either or. You can't see the thumbs up when you're on the live stream. You actually have to close the live. No, excuse me, the chat. The chat, not the live stream, the chat. You have to close the chat. There's a little X. Then you can do thumbs up. Then you can hit live chat and go right back in. So yeah, anyway, but no, thanks for people that did that. You know what? I'm glad Smoky Mountain Hiker is here. I don't have the paper, and I apologize. Imagine me holding up a piece of paper. I always do a YouTuber of the week, and I had already planned it tonight. I was hoping he'd be here, but YouTuber of the week is the Smoky Mountain Hiker, who happens to be here tonight. Smoky Mountain Hiker covers everything related to hiking in the Smoky Mountains and a greater area than that. Has terrific videos. I think most people here know Smoky Mountain Hiker, and he's real active in the community. But like I've always told you, as channels grow, people go back and watch live streams, or they might be somebody new on the channel who hasn't. So if you like to see hikes, especially extended hikes or the actual physical hike itself, please check out the YouTuber of the week, Smoky Mountain Hiker. Smoky Mountain Hiker, forgive me for not printing out the paper. I was upstairs. I was going to print out your page on YouTube, but it was so late. I was afraid that if I didn't get this thing started, I wasn't going to have anybody show up. So Smoky Mountain Hiker is the YouTuber of the week. Please check out his channel and give him some thumbs up. That would be really cool. And William's a great guy. I've met him in person twice, I believe, at two meetups over there in Pigeon Forge. So really cool. We took your kids out of school. So my mom was talking about when we were kids, we're going back to Myrtle Beach. We did get pulled out of school in the fall to go to Myrtle Beach. I know it was kind of a last minute thing too. That's an option if you can do that. School's kind of crazy these days. Like, it seems like if you take your kids out for a couple of days, they're so far behind, and then all the pressure's on the parents to get them caught up. But yes, the fall is a tremendous time to go to the beach. Most likely a maple. Yes, Smoky Mountain Hiker is right. I'm not a tree expert, but I do know enough to know what a maple is. And it is the maple trees. The maple trees definitely are changing. Boy, are they gorgeous. They're just bright, bright red. Awesome. Yeah. So I love maple trees. I think they're one of the coolest leaves. I tell you what. Those red leaves on the trees you filmed in Gatlinburg were beautiful. That was at the Village. And I didn't know what to use for the thumbnail, but I have another picture, and it was like this red maple leaf on the ground. It was really cool. It had fallen on the mulch, and I took a picture, kind of thinking I might use it as the thumbnail, but I like the one that I used instead that had the pumpkin decorations and stuff. But the trees were beautiful. It was really cool. So yeah, thanks, Crystal. That was really cool. Yes, Smoky Mountain Hiker. Definitely awesome channel, YouTuber of the week. And for this episode 8 of the Mountain Man live stream, Mountain Man Monday. And by the way, we always want to promote everybody's YouTube channel. Some folks I know have channels like Roxy Foxy and the Dr. Pepper Show and Smoky Mountain Hiker, not Hyper, Smoky Mountain Hiker. There's a few other people that have had it, like Mama's Instabear Pot Cooking has been on here. There's a few others, so feel free to always promote your channel in the live stream. That doesn't offend me at all. Sometimes you have to get creative though, because YouTube takes some comments out. But if I see it in there and I can let it through, I'll let it through. But I'm a big one for letting people promote their stuff, so always feel free to do that. Let's see. Smoky Mountain Hiker, congrats. I'm subscribed to your channel. And yes, he has some great content. Yep, subscribe. See, I'm going to hit the show button here. Whoops, what happened? Held for review. No, I let it through. Did I press the wrong button? I do not want to put the person in timeout. Roxy Foxy. Did it go through, Roxy Foxy? Or does everybody see the word subscribe on Roxy Foxy? Or did it get hidden? Roxy Foxy, please put it through again. Yes, it did? Okay. If it didn't, put it again. I pressed the button real fast. You got to be careful because you press the wrong button, it'll be like, put this user in timeout. I'm like, no, I don't want to put this user in timeout. I actually had a scary hike today. It got very windy on the mountain hiking and had some trees fall. Wow. Yeah, got to be careful. I'm sure you have stories, and feel free to put them in the chat. I only have one story about that. In my yard, we have some big trees, and I was cleaning up some limbs and stuff. And I walked about 20 yards away, and all of a sudden I heard something that sounded like a July 4th firecracker, like bam, snap, snap, bam. I was like, what in the world is that? And I looked over, and this huge tree had just snapped on its own. And I was over there. And I'm telling you, I'm not being extreme here, but if I had been there and that thing had fallen on my head, man, lights out. It would have been awful. And so I don't know if Smoky Mountain Hiker, you're talking about something like that, but I mean, it's true. You're walking on these paths, and the paths might be nice, but at any time, I mean, I don't want to scare anybody, but let's be realistic. At any time, one of these big old limbs could fall. I mean, it wouldn't deter anybody from, hiking, but it's kind of like getting struck by lightning. It'd be a wrong place, wrong time kind of thing. Oh, Roxy Foxy was just playing to stop by and say, I got to run. Thanks for all your videos. Good night. Good night, Roxy Foxy and the Dr. Pepper Show. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. I hope you have a good night. Thanks for stopping by on this late evening. So, yeah, the trees, no joke. I mean, when they get old, they're just or brittle, they're just time for me to snap, and there's no warning. And it wasn't at the base, but it was kind of up a little bit, and then it just, and it fell over. So, so Smoky Mountain Hiker, is that what happened? Kind of like that? Like something just, snapped and fell in proximity to where you were hiking? Yeah, I don't know if that's yes. People have been killed by fallen trees, but it is rare, so don't let it scare you. I agree. I was kind of saying that if that had happened to me that day, that would have been wrong place, wrong time. I wouldn't. I agree 100% with Smoky Mountain Hiker. I would not let that deter anybody from hiking a fun hike. Yeah, it's like it's just some kind of anomaly. But yeah, crazy. They're loud when it happens. So we had multiple tornadoes in Dayton, Ohio this past Memorial Day. A lot of damage and tons of fallen trees everywhere. Never seen that. Yeah. Yeah, Crystal, when I grew up in the Midwest, I remember, was it mostly, you have to remind me. I'm getting some water. My voice gets dry talking. If I recall correctly, it was usually the spring and the fall because, again, I'm not a meteorologist, but from what I remember, hot air, cold air gets together and you get a tornado. So it was typically the cold air that was lingering and the hot air coming around, or the opposite in the fall were turbulent times for severe weather like that. And yeah, I was pretty scared of tornadoes growing up. I mean, they can be kind of scary things. I tell you what, when I lived in Florida is a weird place. If I was to quiz everybody and say, what do you think are the problems in Florida? 9 out of 10 people would put hurricanes, and it's true, hurricanes are bad. But when I lived in Central Florida, you wouldn't believe the things that were bad to that area as far as severe events. Hurricanes, for sure. Wildfires, yes. Wildfire forest fires were bad in Central Florida. It got so bad a couple of years, like outside it was like a reddish haze, because inland there's just a ton of trees and it would get super dry there. Believe it or not, the whole stereotype about it rains in the afternoon, that happens in the summer. But from January to May, it's the sunshine state. And so there would be these terrible fires that would start west of I-95 and all that smoke and soot. And I'm not talking about a little bit. I remember working and it would even be, kind of penetrate the buildings. So wildfires are bad. Hurricanes are bad. Tornadoes. Christmas Day, maybe 2008 or 9, when I was there. I wasn't there. I was up in Ohio. But I remember the news. A tornado had hit Embry-Riddle in an apartment complex right near the airport, which is only about 4 or 5 miles from where I live. Went back home and went down Nova Road, and that apartment looked like something off the news on the side of it. Nobody was hurt, thankfully. But yeah, tornadoes, wildfires, hurricanes, and guess what? There are more black bears in Florida that I had seen living there than I've seen since I've lived in Western North Carolina. I know that's different in Gatlinburg. When I've stayed over there, I've seen a bunch of bears, but they have black bears and alligators, snakes, poisonous spiders. Yeah, a lot of weird stuff in Florida. I'll tell you what, Florida's kind of crazy. Let's see. Yes, people big. Let's see. We have multiple. It was the wind knocking them over. I was in a burned area though. If I had known it was supposed to get windy, I would not have went there. I thought the storm system was not supposed to hit till tomorrow. Oh, okay. Yeah, Smoky Mountain Hiker. Being that you're a little bit west of us, it's probably raining where you are now, right? Because we're supposed to have a lot of rain in the morning. Yeah, I'm not sure about where that, but I saw that front coming through. I like the way you read out loud what people are saying to you, because some YouTubers don't. It makes them seem like we're all in one big group this way. Rita, you're right. It's one of the things I really like about the size of my channel. I know I'm the oddball, but it's fine being a smaller, quaint channel. I just want people to enjoy it. I think the reality is what happens on some of those channels, if you've ever been to another one that has a lot of larger community, the chat moves so fast. And so what happens is let's say we started talking about Myrtle Beach, but there were 200 people in here. By the time I finished talking or showing these t-shirts that I got from the Calabash place, original Benjamin's Calabash Seafood Buffet, there might have been 50 comments and I might miss somebody. So I know what you're talking about though, Rita. I've been on channel live streams before. Lots of them. I'm not talking about any some of the community that I really enjoy, like Inking the South and stuff. There, we talk a lot and all that stuff. But I've been on other live streams. you just can't get acknowledged. I mean, you feel like you're trying to get involved with the community and live stream, and you put something in and just nobody's paying attention, either because there's too many comments or they just not responding. And that's kind of deflating. So at that point, you only watch those live streams because you're just interested in what they're talking about. But it is an advantage of being a smaller community that, I'm able to read everything and everybody's able to talk about what they want to talk about, which is fun too. I will never forget the date for sure. It happened on my 40th birthday. Yeah, well, happy birthday. I'm glad. I hope nothing happened bad with the tornadoes. Yeah, so that's not a great birthday gift, is it? Earthquakes. Yeah. I believe there's a fault line in Western North Carolina, right? Small earthquakes. Let me see. I'm just going to put it in fault line. Western North Carolina. Fault lines, Western North Carolina. I thought something might come up a little quicker, but I thought that's why there were some fault lines for small earthquakes in North Carolina and maybe East Tennessee. Earthquakes are, man, those, I don't, Marvin, you said you live near the Madrid fault line. I don't know if, you don't know about nothing about earthquakes, but at least with like hurricanes, you can predict them to an extent. I mean, you see them coming. Tornadoes are a bit harder. They pop up. That's why a lot of people, unfortunately, have their homes destroyed because the weather systems, happen very quickly. I don't know if the science behind earthquakes, if they're able to kind of predict with any accuracy, or if it's just one of those things like volcanoes where they're like, in the next 10 years, there's going to be a big earthquake, and that's all they can say. There are some here. And jump back up to your other one, not yet, but it's very close. I think the winds were just in front of the front, pushing warm air into the area because the wind was warm, not cold. Yeah, Smoky Mountain Hiker, it was a little warmer today. I was mentioning that too. I mean, not like 80 or anything, but it was 60 something. It was much more mild. But I know tomorrow night, I think the low around here is going to be like 38. So when that front pulls through and the lows are going to be chilly, that'll probably help between the rain and the cooler weather. I'm hoping that helps with the pop of the leaves with that contrast. It's pretty much unpredictable as far as the earthquakes go. Yeah. And that's tough. I mean, I think about California a lot, all the stuff they have, mudslides and droughts and earthquakes. I don't know how old everybody is, but how many of you remember, the 1987 World Series in San Francisco? Anybody, when I was a kid growing up, there was cable, but things were more focused back then. There weren't umpteen billion channels and YouTube and the internet. So even if you weren't a big sports fan, you knew when the World Series was happening. I remember the A's were playing San Francisco or the Oakland A's were playing somebody. Anyway, there was an earthquake right at the beginning, the big one, 1987. And, the television broadcast stopped, and that was the big earthquake out in San Francisco. So that was crazy. Maybe were they playing the Giants? I am not a baseball guy. I'm a football guy. Giants. Okay. All right, cool. Chad. Hey, Chad. Glad to have you here. And thanks for that fact. Yeah. So, that was crazy. That earthquake. I always think about that remember hearing about that. Yeah. The 1987, earthquake. I was at Grotto Falls one day when I got a tornado warning come on my phone, and it was before they opened the Roaring Fork Road for the spring, so I had a longer hike back to the vehicle than usual. Yeah, that's crazy. Smoky Mountain Hiker, you know how they tell you when there's a tornado and you're outside, you're supposed to get in a ditch? Like, you literally probably were like, if there was a tornado wherever you were out hiking, you're literally like getting in a ditch and following that, because most of the time you don't think about it. You think about getting in a shelter. And I don't think those historic cabins qualify for being a shelter. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I think if I was out in Cades Cove and there was a tornado warning, I probably wouldn't go in one of those old Methodist or Baptist churches that are like 200 years old, I'd probably get crawl in a ditch and and throw a log over me or something. Yeah, so that's crazy. I had a great aunt that lived out there, and her home was damaged. Yeah, that was a terrible earthquake. It was like 7.6, and then there were aftershocks and all that stuff. So yeah, boy, we got into the natural disasters tonight. Was that my fault? Yeah, I think I was talking about the things that. The last thing I'll say about natural disasters, though, is here's an interesting little fact. So I live in North Carolina, and every time there's a hurricane that comes up the coast, people who don't know, even I say Western North Carolina and all this, people will be like, oh, there's a hurricane going to North Carolina. How you doing? I mean, are you going to be okay? Well, for those of you that don't know, I'll give you a couple facts about hurricanes. One, land kills hurricanes. And two, when you turn on the news channel and you see that huge spinning thing on the hurricane, and they say 140 mile an hour winds, and I'll pop down here for a second. Hello, New Horizons. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here on this Mountain Man Monday. So the hurricane, when they show that big thing and they say it's a category 4 and there's sustained winds of 130 miles an hour, those winds are just around the eye. Okay, so that huge system, that's not 130 mile an hour winds. It's just that little part. It's like one big tornado that outside the eye. If that part goes over the land and sustains those winds, it's really, really bad. But I think a lot of people think like that whole system is 130. It's not. When I live in Central Florida, you could be in the middle of that big circle, and I'd look out the window, and the trees would barely be moving and just be rain. So the point of me saying that is that, you know, it's important to understand that the whole thing is not that crazy. So the interesting fact is, from where we live to the Outer Banks is like 550 miles or something like that. Do you know what else is 550 miles from where I live? Like Central Ohio, like Dayton, Columbus. So if I was to have not told you that and say, what do you think is further, Dayton, Ohio from Western North Carolina or the Outer Banks, North Carolina, most people would say Ohio, but they're like equidistant. So that's how far inland and away from the coast we are. So it's not to say a hurricane couldn't cause problems in the mountains, especially with sustained rain, but usually not with the wind. So usually when people say, you know, oh, I heard there's a hurricane going to North Carolina, we're not over here in the mountains. There's just too much that prevents it from being strong that far inland. But rain can be a problem. Let's see. Yeah, I wasn't close to a cabin either, just out under trees. Yeah. And I don't know if that's scary to you, Smoky Mountain Hiker, but I've been outside mowing the grass around trees and stuff and walking around. And man, again, going back to the natural disasters anomalies like lightning strikes and stuff. So yeah, we'll hang out here for about another 7 to 10 minutes, and then we'll call it a night. I don't know if there's anybody else in the chat who's been here listening. You know, not everybody has to type in the chat if you don't want to, but if you would like to mention anything or how your week's going or anything interesting you've done, it does not have to be just about mountains. It can be anything that you want to talk about or you find interesting. We can certainly talk about. I knew Hugo might come up. I just saw that out of the corner of my eye. I was in Western Massachusetts summer '76 when we were hit by a hurricane. That was an experience. Yeah, and Marvin, I also think about that one within the last 10 years that rolled up the East Coast and really did a number on New Jersey and New York. I forget which one it was. All the flooding was really bad up there. Hugo got Western North Carolina pretty bad, just scary on the trees in the wind. Hugo was an anomaly. I remember Hugo for a few reasons. One, because my grandparents lived just inland from Myrtle Beach, about an hour, and we went down there and all the trees were like, boom. I did look up, because I knew about Hugo, what Hugo did to Western North Carolina. That was a very unusual hurricane, and also its entry point and its path through, you know, and how strong it was. It was definitely a terrible hurricane, not only for here in the United States, but down the Caribbean as well. It was really bad down in Puerto Rico and such before it got to the United States. If people think in the States it was bad, Puerto Rico got sent into the Stone Age, you know, with that one for a few months without water and electricity. So, yeah, but all those big tall pine trees here in the United States. Like I remember my grandparents saying that some places they just cut like a hot knife through butter going through a house. So yeah. Anyway, I'm not trying to be depressing about natural disasters. We can talk about something happy like Mickey Mouse or fun pumpkin people in Gatlinburg. Let's talk about the Gatlinburg video here in a minute, since I went there this weekend. I won't go up in the mountains when there's high winds. I'm afraid bad things will happen, like a tree falling on us. Yeah, New Horizons. We were Smoky Mountain Hiker and I were talking about that a little bit earlier. We were talking about all this stuff, and we kind of went off on a tangent, but there's really no reason to be worried. I mean, things can happen anywhere. I mean, if you want to play statistics, driving on the interstate is probably one of the most dangerous things we do on an average basis, but people do it every day anyway. And so the mountains are a terrific, wonderful, stress relieving, fun place and stuff. So, yeah, no, it's definitely worth checking out the mountains. If you like the mountains, it's cool. And by the way, going up higher in the mountains is a real fun experience too, like on the Blue Ridge Parkway, because the higher you go, the colder it gets, the better the views. And a lot of those types of roads and stuff are completely cleared and, really nice. It's a good experience. Chad says, whereabouts in North Carolina you live? I have some family near Greenville. Chad, I'm in Western North Carolina. And any caves or old mines by you? Great question, Peter. And Peter, welcome to the channel. Appreciate you asking the comment. I'm sorry, I'm out of focus again. Let's see if I can get in focus here. Can I get in focus? Or am I just going to be out of focus? I don't know. I'm out of focus again. I don't know what makes this thing go into focus. Can I? Come on, baby. Anyway, you can see me. It doesn't have to be crystal clear. And let me jump down to Chris About T-shirt. Chris About T-shirts. It's great to have you here. I missed having you here. We got a few more minutes, and I'm glad that you showed up. And speaking of T-shirts, I was showing everybody earlier that that seafood restaurant I went to in Myrtle Beach, they sent me a whole bunch of T-shirts. And so that was pretty cool. The original Benjamin's Calabash Seafood Buffet sent me a whole bunch of T-shirts. So actually, when I was opening the box, I was thinking about T-shirts. I was thinking about Chris About T-shirts. So the caves are old mines. I do not know. I know there's the caves in Gatlinburg, but I am not sure. That's a great question, Peter. I'm going to have to look into that. And I'm sorry, I don't have an answer. If somebody else does, let me know. But there are the caves outside of Gatlinburg. I just saw the sign on Saturday. I forget what it was. Driving in Knoxville can be dangerous also. Yeah, laughing out loud. Yeah, any of the big cities, they can get kind of nutty. Wanting to get into the brighter things. Dollywood is adding a new event next year. What's the event, Chris? Or Smoky Mountain Hiker? A new event, like a new show, or you'll have to let me know what it is. And did I miss congratulations on something? New Horizons, I'm coming down from it. Oh, Sugar High. Oh, Chris, is that from your live stream with the candy that you guys got? Yeah, that was pretty cool. I was going to tell you real quickly about that Gatlinburg video I made. Yeah, so we went over to Gatlinburg and it was raining, and I mentioned, but I mentioned in the video, but before I got there, man, are the crowds crazy on Saturday. I don't know if I should go back to Gatlinburg on a Saturday for a while, or because we go for the day, because we come back to Western North Carolina, and we were with family. I really wanted to see it, but man, the traffic was really bad getting into town and finding parking, and then getting out. Like that river road that runs parallel, don't ever think that's a shortcut. That's even worse than the main street sometimes. Yeah, the weekends are nuts, New Horizon. But when it started raining, all the people must, I always think of the witch, the wicked witch from the Wizard of Oz. Not that people are wicked, but it's not. You don't melt if you can, unless it's like a crazy downpour where it's just no fun. If it's a sprinkle or a modest rain, get an umbrella. We brought a bunch of raincoats and stuff. The poncho that I had was because we had so many family members that we ran out because we were giving them out. So then bought one from the store, and my father-in-law got it for me. And so that's what I had on at the beginning of the video. I am coming down from it. Thanks. Have you ever been to the Air Force Museum in Dayton? That place is cool. No, but that would be really cool. I do like planes, jets, military jets, Navy. I enjoy all of that stuff. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've been to an actual air museum. When I lived in Florida, I was a huge F-14 Tomcat fan because I like the movie Top Gun. Well, the favorite movie of all time. They got Top Gun 2 coming out next year. But they had an actual F-14 Tomcat out in DeLand, Florida that you could go see. That was pretty cool. I like that a lot. How's the weather been down south? We've been mild lately, but going into 40s again for highs here in Wisconsin. That's awesome, Chad, about Wisconsin. Chad, do you happen to be a football fan, like a Wisconsin Badger fan, or if not, know anybody? I think we play you guys this weekend. I'm an Ohio State fan. But I saw some picture of some leaves up kind of your way in Minneapolis, and they were really bright yellow and really cool and just beautiful. So I'm sure that it's been really nice. We are going to be down into the upper 30s tomorrow night in the mountains, but the mountains, as obvious, are not typical for the South here. Like somebody mentioned Greenville earlier, and, you know, Charlotte and Raleigh and Nashville, lower areas. Atlanta. This is more the South. Those areas are more the South. So by elevation, we get cooler temps that mimic like the Midwest and up north, but only because of the elevation, which I love, by the way. So it's pretty cool. I would love to see the Biltmore when it has snowed there. It's a beautiful place. The Biltmore is amazing. Vanderbilt family, George Vanderbilt, a lot of history there. It's a sight to see. It's a beautiful place. Been there. Plan on going back. A real asset to the Asheville area. Very, very cool place. The weekends are crazy here. It's crazy here every day in October. Oh, every day. Good to know, Smoky Mountain Hiker. Look up North Carolina Grotto, and you can join local pro caving groups. Side note, real cavers never use the term splunking. I learned something today. That's cool. Don't use splunking. All right. Don't say splunking. What do we say? Do we say investigating or just searching, or what do we tell Peter, inform us, tell us what we say. Love those shirts you got sent, Mr. Mountain Man. Yeah, this was just one. Everybody'd be bored if I showed them all again, Chris, about t-shirts, but they sent a ton of shirts to me. I was flattered. Look at this, for everyone, and a hat, and the Benjamin's Calabash Seafood Buffet, and a tote bag, and also a cool pack. So yeah, again, I was flattered they enjoyed the video so much. That was a fun video too, because I remember at the end I went back and watched it. There was a huge lightning strike behind me when I was doing one of the reviews. That was cool. That was August, so that's why there were some crazy storms then. Let's see here, and also Smoky Mountain Hiker. Go back to what you said. It's good to know that every day is crazy there. It just took us hours to move around last week and just to go to the store, and I live there and know the back roads around the Smoky Mountains. Yeah, New Horizons, that's cool. I mean, not cool you live there, but yeah. Okay, so New Horizons, one of the places we went, I only have a few minutes of video because I kind of did it off the cuff, was Mama's Farmhouse. I always want to go to Mama's Farmhouse. It's in Pigeon Forge. And one of the cool things about Mama's Farmhouse is that it's not on the main parkway. You got to go like a block behind, which I think helps with the crowds. So we still had to wait like 20 minutes, but parking was easier. There's some houses right behind there. You're probably well aware what I'm talking about. Smoky Mountain Hiker, Chris, and all these guys that live there. And I remember saying to my family, I said, I feel really bad for these people right here. It's not like they can just go out to Walmart or to the grocery store or to Food City, like, and make just a quick run. Because it would take so long because of the traffic. I can't help but see, I have to jump down to that comment. New Horizons, you ate at Mama's Farmhouse Saturday night? That's when I was there. That would have been crazy if we were both in the restaurant at the same time. We were there at 7-ish, maybe 7 o'clock. Yeah. Anyway, crazy. Small world. So anyway, yeah, traffic's crazy. I don't know about the local yokels that live there. Oh, University of Michigan. I'm originally from Michigan. Okay, so you probably still don't like the Buckeyes. But I really love the mountains, and I want to move the family down there someday. You know, Chad, that's a good someday on one of these live streams, from the beginning, if somebody brings up that topic, I'd love to talk about you know, the whole relocation thing, because I actually have some insight into that. And there's an informed way to do it, and there's an off the cuff way, and the informed way is much, much better. So that you know, not to make rash decisions about how, why, you know, the internet helps with a lot of things. Great topic to talk about. Really would like to talk about that someday. If you happen to be in here and want to bring that up, please do. Peter says just simple caving or just cavers. So we're caving. We're just caving or cavers. Okay. The new event is the Flower and Food event at Dollywood that takes place. So Smoky Mountain Hiker, another thing that I have a big history with is Walt Disney World, because having lived in Central Florida for a long time, and that's another topic if anybody ever wants to talk about one day. I know a lot about it. We had annual passes on and off for 10 years. Dollywood copies so many things from Disney World and like Epcot. Epcot has the Flower and Garden Festival. They have an event called the Food and Wine Festival. They have the, you know how there's like the Nations Festival at Smoky Mountain Hiker at Dollywood. They have the same thing at Epcot. And of course, these things originated at Epcot long before they did it at Dollywood. They have the teacups at Walt Disney World, and they have something almost identical. And it's funny. It's not that it's exactly intellectual property and Dollywood can't do it. The only thing I think about that, I think about it from two angles. And again, this could go on to a long conversation, but on one end, why not? You know, why not copy a proven product like Disney World? You know, you're not competing directly. You're far enough away. Just use their ideas and take them. But my other side says, be original. There's got to be creativity. You know, don't copy every festival and thing that Epcot has and Walt Disney World. You know, come up with your own flair of the South or of Southern traditions, or it doesn't even have to be Southern, whatever the creative engineers at Dollywood come up with. I've always find it kind of interesting. I even Googled once, like Dollywood copies Walt Disney World. And honestly, I didn't find that many things, maybe because people don't go to both, but there is a strong resemblance between the events and some of the rides, sans the roller coasters. Dollywood, Walt Disney World doesn't have much in the way of that, the smaller attractions. But anyway, I find it interesting. Oh, Marvin, did I miss you? Sorry, Marvin. Need to go to bed. Thanks for the chat. I probably missed you. Maybe if you watched the last 5 minutes of this, say goodnight. Maybe they sent you so many things because you went there 2 nights in a row. They were happy to see you. Rita, I think you're right. I think they really liked that last part when I went to the other buffet and then I went over back to their buffet. I think that that's what they were talking about. More reasons to grow your own food. I forget what that was in reference to, but growing your own food's cool if you can build a garden and grow your own food. We got there at 6 and we noticed a huge line after we were about done eating. Yeah, you were probably one of the people waiting in there. Yeah, we got in there. The 2 hostess there. So if I was doing a TripAdvisor review, and I didn't put this in my video review because I did all the video in there, but the only complaint I'd have is they weren't exactly hospitable at the hostess stands at Mama's Farmhouse. I mean, they went in there, and I don't like when I go into restaurants and it's like they're doing you a favor to be there. No, I'm paying to be there. I appreciate a smile on your face. And they're kind of like, we had 11 because of the extended family and everything. And they're like, well, it's going to be like 30 minutes. That's fine. We'll just go sit over here. So I don't know. The food was good and our waiter was really cool. So, no big deal. Water under the bridge. Need to go to bed. Night, Marvin. Mom says it's 11:11. It's 11:14. What are you talking about? Oh, that was 3 minutes ago. Smoky Mountain Hiker, message retracted. Did I say? Well, I don't know. If you were going to, I've never been to Disney. Probably never will because they are too expensive. Yeah, Definitely. It is expensive. The only way to really navigate Walt Disney World at a reasonable cost is with a Florida resident discount. Like you can get, there were times when I lived there, you could get like 3-day pass for like 129 or something like that, which isn't crazy unreasonable. You know, if you ever go for one day and you maximize it and go like when the gates open till it closes, if like one of the nights in the summer or in the time of the year where they stay open to midnight, you could really maximize a Walt Disney World experience, especially if you were agile and, you know, depending if you were with family or without family, but if the faster you can move and the more you can do, and if, depending on the time of the season, you could really get through a lot of stuff. But I just found it fascinating that the parallels that are drawn between especially Epcot and Dollywood. But again, I can't really blame them. You know, if there's a working template, you see it all the time. You know, one restaurant has a success and then another one, you know, follows up and they're just as successful. So, and like I said, you can't really call it intellectual property because you probably couldn't use the exact same name, but like Epcot has the food and wine festival. It's called the Flower and Garden Festival. One's in the spring and one's in the fall. So they have, you know, very similar names, but I'm really looking forward to exploring Dollywood. My wife is really excited about it, and we will definitely be going to Dollywood sometime in the next few years. But I hear a lot of positive reviews from people who've been there. Yeah, I mean, I actually am a huge Disney World fan. The whole family is. We enjoyed it. It was a great family affair. By us doing annual passes, we were able to bring that cost down significantly on an annual basis. And because we lived in Central Florida, we didn't stay at hotels. We would drive to Disney World, which is about an hour and 15 minutes. We'd go on a Saturday or a Sunday. We'd bring all our food. You can bring food into the park at Disney World. So we would bring coolers, water, sandwiches, everything we needed to eat. And I kid you not, I understand that the passes cost money, but we could go to Walt Disney World without spending a penny on the actual day other than gas money to go to Walt Disney World, which is pretty cool. Institutions teach people to stay in a box, controlled narration. The best memory becomes top two. Many cookie cutter can clones today. Never mind if the electricity dies. Yeah. So yeah, creativity is great. Sure is. So yeah, normally I keep these things to about an hour. We're at an hour and 12. It's getting late and on the East Coast here. I appreciate everybody joining. I appreciate everybody that gave the thumbs up. I hope everybody had a great time tonight. It was neat showing you some of the stuff from the old Benjamin's Calabash Seafood Buffet down there in Myrtle Beach. And New Horizons made another comment about not going to Disney either because of the cost. Yeah, it's definitely expensive. We can talk more Disney another night. There's some ways to curtail the cost, but it's definitely, there's no beating around the bush. It's a very expensive experience. But if you ever have any relatives or friends in Florida that can get tickets, that can help. That's one way. But anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed the live stream tonight. I usually miss it somehow. Keep up the good work. Good night. Smoky Mountain Hiker again was the YouTuber of the week. So everybody check out his channel. And thank you again, Chris About T-shirts, for showing up. Rita, New Horizons, Peter, Crystal, Mr. Mountain Man's mom, Marvin already left. And if there's anybody else that was in the background that didn't get a chance to say hi, thank you for joining. Hope you had a good time. Everybody have a great week. Hopefully I'll have some more time for some videos. I've still got some one international video I have to do. And then I mentioned Mama's Farmhouse and some other stuff coming up. There'll be a lot going on. Yeah, so appreciate it. You guys have a great week. Enjoy this fall weather, and we will see you next time on the next Mountain Man live stream. Good night, everybody.